The Lean Startup, Ries. Full breakdown. The Lean Startup by Ries explains step by step, from core ideas to real-world application. This is one of the most important books on startups, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Core idea of the book. Most startups fail not because they can't build products, but because they build the wrong products. The Lean Startup teaches how to build businesses faster, smarter, and with less waste by learning what customers actually want, before running out of money. What is a startup? Ries defines a startup as a human institution designed to create a new product or service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. What this really means. Human institution, it's about people and processes, not just ideas or technology. New product or service, something innovative or unproven. Extreme uncertainty, you don't yet know who the customers are, what they want, or how to grow sustainably. Key insight. A startup is not defined by size, age, or funding. A two-person team, a small shop testing a new idea, or a large company launching a new product can all be startups, as long as uncertainty exists. In short, a startup exists to learn how to build a sustainable business in uncertain conditions. The core engine: build, measure, learn. The heart of the Lean Startup by Ries. The build, measure, learn loop is the system startups use to turn ideas into evidence, reduce risk, and learn what customers actually want, fast. 1. Build. Goal: turn assumptions into something testable. You start with a hypothesis, not a finished product. Then you build the minimum viable product, MVP, the smallest thing that can test your riskiest assumption. What you're really building: an experiment, a learning tool, a way to test a belief. Key question: what must be true for this business to work? Examples: a landing page, a prototype, a demo video, a basic app feature. 2. Measure. Goal: collect real data from real users. You track actionable metrics, not vanity metrics. You don't ask, do people like it? You ask, what are people actually doing? Examples of what to measure: sign-ups, conversions, retention, repeat usage, referrals. Key question: does user behavior validate our assumptions? 3. Learn. Goal: decide what to do next, based on evidence. You analyze the data to determine, are our assumptions correct? Are we making progress? Are customers behaving as expected? Then you make the most important decision in a startup. Pivot or persevere. Persevere, continue on the same path. Pivot, change direction based on what you learned. Key question: should we keep going or change course? Why the loop matters. It replaces guessing with learning. It saves time and money. It reduces failure risk. It accelerates growth. It keeps startups customer-focused. The faster you move through the loop, the faster you learn. One-line summary. Build something small, measure how customers actually use it, learn from the data, and decide whether to pivot or persevere. Repeat fast. Minimum viable product, MVP. From the Lean Startup by Ries. Definition. An MVP, minimum viable product, is the simplest version of a product that allows you to learn the maximum amount about customers with the least effort. The purpose of an MVP is learning, not perfection. Why MVPs exist. Startups fail when they build too much too early. Assume they know what customers want. Waste time and money on untested ideas. An MVP helps you test assumptions early. Reduce risk. Get real customer feedback. Avoid building the wrong product. What an MVP really is. An MVP is an experiment, a hypothesis test, a learning tool. It answers one core question: will customers actually use this? What an MVP is not a final product, not full-featured, not perfect, not polished. If it feels a little uncomfortable to launch, it's probably an MVP. Examples of MVPs: landing page to test interest, demo video, e.g., Dropbox early video, Clickable prototype. Basic app with one key feature. Manual service pretending to be automated, concierge MVP. Pre-order page. What you measure with an MVP. You measure behavior, not opinions. Sign-ups. Usage. Retention. Willingness to pay. Referrals. Key insight. If customers don't change their behavior, you haven't learned anything. Common MVP mistakes. Building too many features. Waiting too long to launch. Asking people what they think instead of watching what they do. Ignoring negative feedback. Falling in love with the idea. MVP in the build, measure, learn loop. Build, create the MVP. Measure, track real user behavior. Learn, decide to pivot or persevere. Repeat fast. One sentence summary. An MVP is the smallest thing you can build to test your riskiest assumption and learn from real customers as quickly as possible. Here are real MVP examples from famous startups, exactly how they tested ideas before building massive products, straight from the lean startup mindset. Real MVP examples from famous startups. 1. Dropbox, demo video MVP. Problem: will people trust cloud file storage? Instead of building the full product, Dropbox created a 3-minute demo video, showed how the product would work, posted it online. Result: signups jumped from 5,000 to 75,000 overnight. Massive validation before building. Lesson: you can test demand without building the product. 2. Airbnb manual, concierge MVP. Problem: will people pay to stay in strangers' homes? Founders listed their own apartment online, took photos themselves, personally hosted guests. Result: people paid. Market demand confirmed. Lesson: do things manually before automating. 3. Zappos, Wizard of Oz MVP. Problem: will people buy shoes online without trying them? Founder posted shoe photos from local stores. When someone ordered, he bought the shoes manually and shipped them. Result: orders came in. Customers trusted online shoe buying. Lesson: fake the backend, test the demand. 4. Facebook, feature limited MVP. Problem: will students want an online social network? Initial MVP. Only for Harvard students. Very limited features. Simple profiles and friend lists. Result: massive adoption. Expanded school by school. Lesson: start small and focused. 5. Instagram, pivot MVP. Problem: what feature do users actually want? Original app Bourbon had many features. Check-ins, games, photos. Data showed users only loved photo sharing. They stripped everything else. Result: Instagram launched with one core feature. Explosive growth. Lesson: your MVP may reveal what to remove, not what to add. 6. Amazon, simple online bookstore. Problem: will people buy books online? Initial MVP. Sold only books. Basic website. No fancy features. Result: sales validated the idea. Expanded into everything else later. Lesson: test one category before scaling. 7. Uber, city limited MVP. Problem: will people use an app to call rides? Initial MVP. Only in San Francisco. Only luxury black cars. Invite only. Result: strong usage. Demand validated before expansion. Lesson: limit geography and features early. 8. Spotify, internal MVP. Problem: will people prefer streaming over downloading? Spotify built a rough internal prototype. Tested speed and user experience privately. Result: confirmed streaming demand. Improved product before public launch. Lesson: test internally before going public. Common MVP patterns. Videos instead of products. Manual work instead of automation. Small markets before big ones. One feature instead of many. Fake backend, real users. One sentence summary. Famous startups didn't start big, They tested small, learned fast, and scaled only after demand was proven. Why MVPs matter? From the Lean Startup by Ries. Short answer. MVPs matter because they help you learn what customers actually want before you waste time, money, and effort building the wrong product. Key reasons MVPs matter. 1. They reduce risk. Most startups fail because they build products nobody wants. An MVP lets you test your idea before going all in. Risk moves from betting everything to running small experiments. 2. They save time. Instead of spending months or years building features users don't care about, complex systems nobody uses, you learn early what works and what doesn't. 3. They save money. Every feature costs money, development time, maintenance. MVPs prevent overbuilding and help startups survive longer. 4. They validate demand. Opinions lie. User behavior doesn't. MVPs show if people will sign up, if they will use it, if they will pay. Real traction beats positive feedback. 5. They enable faster learning. MVPs speed up the build, measure, learn loop. Faster loops equals faster learning equals better decisions. 6. They prevent founder bias. Founders fall in love with ideas. MVPs force you to listen to customers. Face the truth. Let data guide decisions. 7. They make pivoting easier. When you test small, failure is cheap. Course correction is fast. Pivoting early saves companies. 8. They build what matters most. MVPs help you identify the core problem, the must-have feature, the real value proposition. Everything else is noise. Without MVPs, startups often scale too early, build too much, ignore customer feedback, burn cash, fail fast the bad way. One-sentence summary. MVPs matter because they turn assumptions into evidence, reduce risk, and help startups build what customers actually want, faster and cheaper. Validated learning. From the Lean Startup by Ries. Definition. Validated learning is the process of proving, through real customer behavior, that your startup is making meaningful progress. It's learning backed by evidence, not opinions, guesses, or hope. Why validated learning matters. Startups exist in extreme uncertainty. Traditional planning doesn't work because you don't yet know who your customers really are, what they truly want, what will make them pay. Validated learning replaces guessing with testing. How validated learning works. 1. Start with assumptions. Every startup begins with beliefs like customers have this problem. They want this solution. They'll pay this price. They'll use it this way. These are hypotheses, not facts. 2. Turn assumptions into experiments. You design an MVP to test your riskiest assumption. Example. Assumption. Users will pay for this feature. Experiment. Launch a paid version or pre-order page. 3. Measure real behavior. You track actionable metrics such as sign-ups, usage, retention, willingness to pay. Not what people say, what they do. 4. Learn from the results. Data answers one key question. Are we moving closer to a sustainable business? Then you decide. Persevere, keep going. Pivot, change direction. Validated learning versus traditional learning. Traditional learning, validated learning. Opinions, data. Surveys, alone behavior. Assumptions, experiments. Vanity metrics, actionable metrics. Planning, testing. Common mistakes. Relying on positive feedback instead of behavior. Using vanity metrics, downloads, views. Ignoring bad data. Delaying decisions. Falling in love with ideas. Key insight. If you're not learning, you're just building blindly. Validated learning in the build, measure, learn loop. Build MVP. Measure real user behavior. Learn, pivot, or persevere. Repeat fast. One-sentence summary. Validated learning is proving your startup's progress with real data from real customers, not opinions or assumptions. Innovation accounting. From The Lean Startup by Ries. What is innovation accounting? Innovation accounting is a system for measuring progress in startups when traditional metrics, revenue, profit, ROI, don't yet apply. It answers one critical question. Are we actually learning and making progress toward a sustainable business? Why traditional accounting fails startups. Early stage startups have little or no revenue, are experimenting, not optimizing, operate under extreme uncertainty. Traditional metrics reward scale, not learning, hide failure behind vanity numbers, push teams to build instead of test. Result: startups look busy but don't move forward. The 3 steps of innovation accounting. 1. Establish the baseline. Launch an MVP to understand current reality. You measure how customers behave now, where the product fails, what assumptions are wrong. This baseline is your starting point, not success. 2. Tune the engine. Improve the product through experiments. You test small changes. Measure their impact. Compare results against the baseline. Each improvement must move a metric that matters. 3. Pivot or persevere. After multiple experiments, you ask, are we making enough progress to continue? Persevere. Metrics improve consistently. Pivot. Learning shows the model won't work. This decision is based on data, not emotion. What innovation accounting measures? Focus on actionable metrics such as conversion rates, retention, customer lifetime value, cohort behavior, activation rates. Not total users, page views, downloads. Key principles of innovation accounting. Learning is progress. Metrics must drive decisions. Experiments must be measurable. Teams should be accountable to learning goals. Failure is acceptable, ignorance is not. Common mistakes. Celebrating vanity metrics. Avoiding pivot decisions. Running experiments without clear hypotheses. Measuring too many metrics. Ignoring customer behavior. One-sentence summary. Innovation accounting measures startup progress by tracking validated learning and actionable metrics, helping teams decide when to pivot or persevere. Vanity metrics versus actionable metrics. From The Lean Startup by Ries. Core difference. Vanity metrics make you feel good. Actionable metrics help you make decisions. If a metric doesn't change what you do next, it's useless. Vanity metrics. These look impressive but don't guide learning or action. Examples: total users, app downloads, page views, total revenue, without context, social media followers. Why they're dangerous. Always go up, even when product is bad. Hide real problems. Create false confidence. Delay pivots. Impress investors without proving value. We're growing! But you don't know why or how. Actionable metrics. These show cause and effect and guide decisions. Examples: conversion rate, retention rate, churn rate, customer lifetime value, LTV, customer acquisition costs, CAC, cohort analysis. Why they matter. Reveal what's working. Show what's broken. Enable experiments. Support pivot or persevere decisions. Track real progress. When we changed X, metric Y improved. Side-by-side comparison. Vanity metrics, actionable metrics. Look impressive, drive decisions. Aggregate totals, segmented and specific. No cause-effect, clear cause-effect. Easy to manipulate, hard to fake. Feel-good data, truthful data. Cohort analysis, key actionable tool. Cohorts group users by sign-up date, behavior, feature usage. This reveals retention patterns, churn points, real engagement. Totals hide problems. Cohorts reveal them. Common mistakes. Celebrating growth without understanding it. reporting totals instead of trends, tracking too many metrics, ignoring negative data. One sentence summary. Vanity metrics impress, actionable metrics inform. Only actionable metrics lead to better decisions and real growth. Pivot or persevere. From The Lean Startup by Ries. What it means. After running experiments and collecting data, every startup must answer one critical question. Should we continue on the current path, persevere, or change direction based on what we've learned? Pivot? This decision is made using validated learning, not emotions or opinions. Persevere. What it means. You continue with the current strategy because experiments show progress. Actionable metrics are improving. Customer behavior validates assumptions. Signs you should persevere. Retention is increasing. Conversion rates are improving. Customers are returning. Willingness to pay is rising. Metrics move in the right direction consistently. The data says, this is working. Pivot. What it means. A pivot is a structured change in strategy designed to test a new hypothesis. It is not failure, it's learning in action. Signs you should pivot. Metrics stagnate despite improvements. Customers use the product differently than expected. Acquisition is high but retention is low. Users love a small feature, not the full product. Growth is not sustainable. The data says, this isn't working, try a new approach. Common types of pivots. Zoom in pivot, one feature becomes the whole product. Zoom out pivot, product becomes part of a larger solution. Customer segment pivot, same problem, different customer. Customer need pivot, same customer, different problem. Platform pivot, app left right arrow platform. Business model pivot, freemium left right arrow paid. Growth pivot, change how you grow, viral, paid, sticky. Technology pivot, same value, new technology. Why startups fail here. Founders get emotionally attached. Vanity metrics hide problems. Fear of admitting failure. Waiting too long to decide. Failing to pivot is more dangerous than pivoting. Pivot or persevere in the loop. Build MVP. Measure actionable metrics. Learn, pivot or persevere. Repeat until you find product market fit. One sentence summary. Pivot when data proves your assumptions wrong. Persevere when data confirms you're moving toward a sustainable business. The 3 engines of growth. From The Lean Startup by Ries. Ries explains that every sustainable startup grows primarily through one main engine. Understanding which engine you're using helps you choose the right metrics, experiments, and strategy. 1. Sticky growth engine. How it works. Growth happens when new customers join. Existing customers stay longer than they leave. As long as acquisition churn, the business grows. Key metrics. Retention rate. Churn rate. Daily/monthly active users. Repeat usage. Best for SaaS products. Subscription businesses. Tools that become habits. Example. Netflix. People stay subscribed month after month. Risk. If churn increases, growth collapses, even with new users. 2. Viral growth engine. How it works. Customers bring in new customers. Growth is driven by sharing, invitations, referrals, network effects. Key metrics. Viral coefficient, K factor. Invite conversion rate. Share rate. If one user brings in more than one user, growth explodes. Best for social networks, messaging apps, marketplaces. Example. WhatsApp. Users invite others to communicate. Risk. If sharing drops, growth stalls quickly. 3. Paid growth engine. How it works. Growth comes from paid acquisition. Rule. Customer lifetime value, LTV, must exceed customer acquisition cost, CAC. Key metrics. CAC. LTV. Payback period. Conversion rate. Best for e-commerce. Ads-driven businesses. High-margin products. Example. Amazon early growth. Reinvested profits into paid customer acquisition. Risk. If CAC rises or LTV drops, growth becomes unsustainable. Key insight. You can use all three engines, but one must dominate for sustainable growth. Mixing engines without focus leads to confusion and wasted effort. Choosing the right engine. Engine focus on sticky retention and churn, viral sharing and referrals. Paid LTV versus CAC. One sentence summary. The three engines of growth, sticky, viral, and paid, explain how startups grow sustainably and which metrics matter most. Small batches and fast feedback. From the Lean Startup by Ries. Core idea. Build less, release faster, learn sooner. Small batches allow startups to reduce risk, catch mistakes early, and learn from real users quickly. What are small batches? Small batches mean building small features, releasing in short cycles, avoiding long development phases, testing one change at a time. Instead of spending months building a big release, you ship tiny improvements continuously. Why small batches matter? 1. Faster learning. Smaller releases equals quicker feedback. You learn what users like, what they ignore, what breaks. 2. Lower risk. If something fails, damage is limited. Rollback is easier. Lessons are cheaper. Big batches hide problems until it's too late. 3. Easier debugging. When you release one small change, you know what caused the result. Cause and effect is clear. Big releases make it impossible to know what worked or failed. 4. Continuous improvement. Small batches create momentum. Frequent wins. Constant progress. Steady product improvement. 5. Faster pivot decisions. You don't wait months to discover a bad idea. Data arrives early, pivots happen sooner, money is saved. Fast feedback loops. Fast feedback means releasing quickly, measuring immediately, learning continuously. Sources of feedback. User behavior. Metrics. A/B tests. Customer support. Usability tests. Feedback beats opinions. Small batches versus big batches. Small batches, big batches. Fast learning, slow learning. Low risk, high risk. Easy fixes, costly fixes. Clear metrics, confusing results. Continuous delivery, rare releases. Common mistakes. Waiting for perfection. Bundling many changes together. Ignoring early feedback. Measuring too late. One sentence summary. Small batches and fast feedback help startups learn quickly, reduce risk, and make better decisions by releasing less and learning more. The Lean Mindset. From the Lean Startup by Ries. What is the lean mindset? The lean mindset is a way of thinking that treats every idea as a hypothesis and every product as an experiment. It prioritizes learning over guessing, evidence over opinions, speed over perfection, customers over assumptions. Core beliefs of the lean mindset. 1. Startups exist to learn. A startup's job is not just to build products. It's to learn how to build a sustainable business. If you're not learning, you're wasting resources. 2. Assumptions are not facts. Every business idea is built on risky assumptions. Who the customer is, what problem matters, what they'll pay for. Lean founders test these assumptions early. 3. Failure is data. In the lean mindset, failure isn't personal. Failure isn't final. Failure is information. Small failures lead to big success. 4. Speed beats perfection. Perfect products launched late lose to imperfect products launched early. Learning fast matters more than building beautifully. 5. Customer behavior, customer opinions. What people do matters more than what they say. Lean teams watch behavior, not compliments. 6. Build less, learn more. More features is not equal to more value. Lean teams remove waste and focus on what actually matters. 7. Pivoting is progress. Changing direction isn't quitting. It's responding intelligently to evidence. 8. Ego is the enemy. Lean requires humility. Admitting you're wrong. Letting customers lead. Choosing truth over pride. What the lean mindset rejects: big upfront plans, long development cycles, guess-based decisions, vanity metrics. We know better. Thinking. Lean mindset versus traditional mindset. 9. Founder ego over customer truth. Founders believe we know better. Customers don't get it yet. Customers always decide, not founders. The root cause of most failures. Startups fail because they don't learn fast enough. Everything else is a symptom. One sentence summary. According to Ries, startups fail when they build without validating assumptions, ignore customer behavior, and scale before learning what truly works. Lean startup in big companies. According to Ries, core idea: lean startup is not just for startups. Large companies face the same problem as startups. They build based on assumptions instead of learning from customers. Lean principles help big organizations innovate faster, reduce waste, and avoid costly failures. Why big companies struggle with innovation. Large organizations often rely on long-term plans and forecasts, require heavy approvals, avoid risk and failure, reward certainty over learning, launch fully built products. This slows learning and increases the cost of mistakes. How lean startup works in big companies. 1. Treat new ideas like startups. Every new product, feature, or internal initiative should be treated as a startup. High uncertainty and proven assumptions. Need for validation. Size does not remove uncertainty. 2. Use MVPs instead of full launches. Instead of big launches, teams build MVPs. Test with small user groups. Gather real data. This prevents million-dollar failures. 3. Build, measure, learn internally. Lean loops apply to internal tools, customer-facing products, process improvements. Small experiments replace long planning cycles. 4. Create innovation accounting. Success is measured by validated learning, customer behavior, experiment results, not by activity, budget spent, project completion. 5. Empower small, autonomous teams. Lean thrives in small teams, fast decision making, clear ownership. Bureaucracy kills innovation. 9. Founder ego over customer truth. Founders believe we know better. Customers don't get it yet. Customers always decide, not founders. The root cause of most failures. Startups fail because they don't learn fast enough. Everything else is a symptom. One sentence summary. According to Ries, startups fail when they build without validating assumptions, ignore customer behavior, and scale before learning what truly works. Lean startup in big companies. According to Ries, core idea: lean startup is not just for startups. Large companies face the same problem as startups. They build based on assumptions instead of learning from customers. Lean principles help big organizations innovate faster, reduce waste, and avoid costly failures. Why big companies struggle with innovation. Large organizations often rely on long-term plans and forecasts, require heavy approvals, avoid risk and failure, reward certainty over learning, launch fully built products. This slows learning and increases the cost of mistakes. How lean startup works in big companies. 1. Treat new ideas like startups. Every new product, feature, or internal initiative should be treated as a startup. High uncertainty and proven assumptions. Need for validation. Size does not remove uncertainty. 2. Use MVPs instead of full launches. Instead of big launches, teams build MVPs. Test with small user groups. Gather real data. This prevents million-dollar failures. 3. Build, measure, learn internally. Lean loops apply to Internal tools. Customer-facing products. Process improvements. Small experiments replace long planning cycles. 4. Create innovation accounting. Success is measured by validated learning, customer behavior, experiment results, not by activity, budget spent, project completion. 5. Empower small, autonomous teams. Lean thrives in small teams, fast decision making, clear ownership. Bureaucracy kills innovation. 6. Allow safe failure. Lean companies expect experiments to fail. Learn from failure. Reward insights, not just success. Failure without learning is bad. Failure with learning is progress. 7. Leadership must support lean. Executives must protect innovation teams. Accept uncertainty. Encourage experimentation. Shift culture from certainty to curiosity. Lean fails without leadership buy-in. Real-world examples. Amazon tests relentlessly. Uses MVPs and A/B testing. Builds from customer data. Google runs constant experiments. Launches beta products. Kills ideas that don't validate. Intuit, one of Eric Ries' key examples. Uses MVPs and rapid experiments. Empowers employees to test ideas. Common mistakes big companies make. Treating innovation like normal operations. Demanding ROI too early. Killing ideas before testing. Punishing failure. Overplanning. One-sentence summary. Lean startup helps big companies innovate by replacing assumptions with experiments, reducing risk through MVPs, and learning faster from customers. Share and subscribe.